I have some Bible trivia for you. What is the shortest verse in all of the New Testament? We just heard it. And Jesus wept. It's the shortest verse in the entirety of the New Testament, and surely one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful, containing so much meaning. And Jesus wept. Maybe it's a bit of a strange image for us. I mean, certainly we know that Jesus connects with us and he cares for us and he loves us, so we can imagine Jesus emotional over things that happen in our lives. But I would bet that we don't all too often sit with this image of Jesus weeping. Not crying, not misty-eyed, not emotional, but weeping. And the people 2,000 years ago ask a question that might be on our minds today. Why didn't he do something? He cured the blind man, done all these miracles. So even from the standpoint of, okay, Jesus knows what he's about to do. He said that we're going to go and I'm going to wake him up from his sleep. Jesus knew what was going to happen, yet he still wept. Isn't that interesting? You see, Jesus weeps as an example and a sign to us that he is totally invested and connected in our human experience. There is nothing in this life outside of sin that we can experience that Jesus doesn't know well himself. And as I said last week, sometimes we can fall into the trap that we use Jesus' divinity to explain away the human side of him. Jesus is fully human and fully divine. Just because he knew that he could and would raise Lazarus from the dead didn't hinder or lessen his love and care for Martha and Mary, for those weeping. The connection was very intimate. And it shows the deep friendship that Jesus had with Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. It's widely thought by scripture scholars that these three were kind of, as we would say today, these were Jesus' besties. This was his crew. This was his inner circle. This is where he would go to recharge, to enjoy friendship. And so with that, we are then given this beautiful image in the relationship between Jesus, Lazarus, Martha, and Mary of what our friendship with Jesus can look like. And this whole scenario for them it ties in with intentional discipleship. But remember the statement by both Martha and Mary. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Like, there's an element of confidence in that, knowing like what Jesus could do. But there's also the frustration of, hey, we sent word to you. You stayed where you were for 2 days. You didn't show up. Why weren't you here? And in the midst of all of that, Jesus, recognizing that, his wisdom and God's wisdom, all things in his time, knowing what would happen, he still chose to enter into the emotion of the moment and to weep with those who were sad. He could have explained everything that was going to happen. Hey, calm down, stop crying. I'm going to wake him up. It'll be fine. He could have done that, but he didn't. He entered into that human experience. And the why to what Jesus did, it's what we heard last week. We hear it again. For the glory of God, that God works, his works may show through. How often in life we have those same questions, huh? Lord, I've prayed, I've sent messages, you didn't show up. But the scenarios, the sufferings, the things that happen in life, the simple answer, and it might be a frustrating one, is things happen in God's time. We don't always know why, and sometimes we're not going to know this side of heaven. As much as I'd love to give you a beautiful theological answer, that's it. And so as we come now to this fifth threshold of intentional discipleship, it's again providential that we are praying with Lazarus, Martha, and Mary. This fifth threshold is defined as the decision to drop one's nets and make a conscious commitment to follow Jesus in his church as a disciple, and to reorder one's life accordingly. We went from trust to openness and curiosity, all these different things. And now this fifth and final threshold is making the choice, making the commitment. I think that's a key word. We make a lot of decisions throughout the day, but how many commitments do we make? And then we order our lives accordingly. The friendship between Jesus, Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, we don't know how it began. We come to them and hear them in Scripture having already formed a friendship. But again, we see, or the last 2 weeks, we could see kind of the whole story of a conversion in the Samaritan woman and the man born blind. Here, with Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, we see more of this fifth threshold only. We see profession of faith. We see trust, even in the midst of grief. Again, they both say, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. And it's the both and of the frustration, but I would also say a confidence like, I know you're the resurrection and the life. I know you heal. It's not up for debate. It's true. They express a confidence. And then Jesus asks the question, having said that I am the resurrection and the life, one of the 7 great I am statements in the Gospel of John identifies who he is. Then Jesus asks the question, do you believe? And we have that great answer, yes, Lord. I have come to believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, the one who is coming into the world. You might remember last week that I posed the question that we should ask, who is Jesus? Hopefully you remember that. Encourage you to ask him directly who he is to you. And so whatever answer that you received, or hopefully you received in this last week, now take it a step further. Jesus has said who he is to you. He now asks this question. I've given you an answer. Do you believe it? Are our words that of Martha? Yes, Lord. I have come to believe. You see, this is a beautiful image of intentional discipleship because here both sisters are able to articulate their frustration with the Lord. If you had been here, this would be different. They trust him enough. The friendship is intimate enough to express the frustration and even the lack of understanding as to why things unfolded the way they did. But that didn't alter the friendship. Right? Sometimes we can get upset with God because something bad happens and now we move away. They did the opposite. They leaned into the friendship in the midst of the grief. She still trusted. The sisters and Lazarus made a conscious commitment to follow Jesus, and they ordered their lives accordingly, even in the moments where they didn't understand God's way. As I said last week, trust is so very crucial in any relationship. It's so foundational. And we see in this family of Martha, Mary, and Lazarus what trust and friendship in the Lord does. Yeah, it might not give perfect clarity. It doesn't leave us without questions, but it leaves us with this beautiful belief. And how the Lord responds to this is by going to the tomb and by the power of his word made the impossible possible. We're told that this was the 4th day. This is an important detail because there is some Jewish belief in ancient times that the soul would linger or perhaps even re-enter a body up to 3 days after death. Jesus waits until the moment where everybody would know Lazarus is definitively dead. There is no more hope. This is done. Yet by the power of Jesus' word, Lazarus rises and walks out of the tomb. Just because we're at the 5th threshold of discipleship doesn't mean we're done with it. Just because Lent is nearly over doesn't mean we're going to check this box and then move on to another thing. How important now for us to take what we've reflected on in this Lenten season and continue to grow. So know this, wherever you are, whether you're back at Ash Wednesday still kind of entering the desert or wandering around, or whether you've already ran ahead to the empty tomb and all excited, or anywhere in between, Jesus has come to you like he came to Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. He enters your existence, whatever that looks like in this particular moment, and experiences what you experience. And he does so with a deep desire for your friendship, just like Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. We come now to the all-important question, as soon we will embark upon the holiest week of the year. Can we, you and I both, now make a conscious commitment to Jesus and his church, ordering our lives accordingly?